In recent years, Islamic finance has come into prominence. This sector itself and the terminology associated with it, however, still remain elusive and confusing. Jargon Buster serves to decode this complex lingo and break it down into everyday speak. Today, we answer the question, what is Islamic finance?
Islamic finance is a form of finance which conforms to the principles of Islam, which is a form of ethical finance, and interest known as Riba is not received or charged by any party involved.
Islamic finance has come into the wider consciousness, but are the principles on which it operates new phenomena?
The principles of Islamic finance come from 1400 years ago from the birth of Islam at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Contemporary practice is around 25-30 years old, and off the back of the recent financial crisis, it's really come to the forefront where a lot of people in society from different faith groups, and indeed no faith group, are interested in a new ethical form and fairer form of finance.
Islamic finance offers itself as a different proposition to conventional finance, but what specifically sets it apart?
Islamic finance is very different to conventional finance on a couple of fronts. Number one, the principles. The principles are such that it's a form, there's an understanding of wealth and the economy and the purpose of the economy within Islam. So this covers concepts such as our role on earth as a steward, as concepts of trust, concepts of amana, concepts of barakah, concepts of avoiding things which are haram or doubtful and doing things which are halal, doing things which are tayyib. So all of these at a principle level sets out Islamic banking. In addition to that, at a practical level, the structure of Islamic banking is a form of asset-based financing, where financing is given around an asset. Of course, we've talked about interest, usury and interest, riba not being allowed in any shape or form, and indeed the preference towards equity-based financing.
Regulatory compliance exists in conventional finance, but what are the rules and regulations for Islamic finance?
In Islamic banking, the bank has to practically engage in the trade or in the business. That might mean they have to buy and sell a commodity, or they have to buy an asset and rent that out, or they have to take an equity risk and actually invest in the business. And that changes the risk dynamics, it changes the returns dynamic as well as part of that.
So, the rules are based around a series of principles outlined in the Quran. But how do you determine what is Shariah compliant and what isn't?
Fundamentally, what makes an Islamic bank or an Islamic product Islamic? It is the Shariah scholars that sit on the board of the bank. There will be a governance structure where you'll have a group of Shariah scholars who will sit on a board and will have to sign off and give a fatwa, give a ruling that every single product of the bank is Shariah compliant, and they will do an annual review, an annual audit to make sure the practices of the bank are in line with what they signed off.
With it being an emerging niche, how exacting is the compliance in Islamic finance?
There are a set of global standards agreed upon by the majority of international scholars through the body called IOFI, based in Bahrain. Yes, there are differences in select jurisdictions, but these differences are minimal. What's more important is the fatwa that's given for the product is available, is visible, so people can see that and say, are they comfortable with this product under the Shafi madhab, under the Maliki madhab, or whatever they prefer. And then that will give them the personal reassurance that the scholars who sit on the board and the products that they have signed off do actually conform with their particular preferences and feelings in Islamic finance.
In principle then, if one set of rules applies to all forms of Islamic finance and their respective products, surely standardization is possible in this sector.
The scholars have been very pragmatic that at this early stage of development for the industry, they've tried to create an environment whereby the banks and Islamic banks can operate and can flourish and can develop. Of course, this does create concerns over overly engineering or creeping cynicism over the synthetic nature. Yes, there are some concerns and some of them are valid, but you have to remember it's a very young industry, and to develop and move on beyond this is the challenge of the practitioners of today to ensure that Islamic products are made which are not just aligned with the letter of the law but also with the spirit of the law.
So there you have it, the term of the day, Islamic finance, broken down and the jargon busted into everyday speak.